Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I believe two things. I believe a lot of things, but there's two things I believe, at least in my thought pattern right now. And that is, one, all the world's a stage. And two, if I've learned anything at the age of 46, life is about relationships. It's not always just black and white. It's not always even right and wrong. Life is about who you know. I mean, and you young people out there, if you don't have a true value of relationships, then you need to get a true value of relationships, because relationships matter. Who you know matters. And I'm going to show you that in this video. Okay. Let's start here. The market's at about 950 billion. We've got XRP and Stellar are right close to right around the same thing, 30 cents. And by the way, I did back up the truck on Coinbase this morning, and I loaded up with XRP big time. Okay, so nothing's stopping this truck from backing up and loading up on XRP. As long as things don't make sense, I will continue to buy. Okay. Now, I wanted to show you this. Binance, today is the day that users will not be able to deposit XRP as of today, 10 a.m. So in 15 minutes, you will not be able to deposit XRP. XRP withdrawals will not be affected at this time. But please note, XRP withdrawals require a tag and a memo. Okay, so Binance, today is the day. All right. Also, this came out from GateHub. This is where we stand on the matter with the SEC lawsuit. And here's what they say. Basically, please be advised that GateHub will continue listing XRP until the SEC's complaint against Ripple is adjudicated and a final decision entered that XRP is properly classified as a security, or until we receive a cease and desist notice from the SEC. I think that's a pretty reasonable stance to have. Okay. Riz XRP sent me this. This is where it gets interesting, folks. Leonidas has gone and found out who every single attorney is for Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, Ripple, the company, and then who's going to handle the case for the SEC. So I blew this up so that we could see it. These are the guys that represent Brad Garlinghouse. And I think just about every one of them is from this firm called Cleary, Gottlieb, Steen, and Hamilton LLP. You might want to remember that name because I'll get to that. And then Chris Larson, he's represented by this Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, Garrison, and I think another firm. They named them individually, Paul Weiss. And then Ripple is represented by Kellogg, and then another one here, and then there's Kellogg. So two law firms basically, looks like. And then more than two. And by the way, there's Mary Jo White, who used to be with the SEC. Okay. And so Ripple's got just several people that are representing them. Then as you go over here, the Securities Exchange Commission has three attorneys, and the lead attorney is Jorge Gerardo Tenrero. I guess that's how you'd say that. But the most interesting thing to me, I told you at the beginning of this video that relationships are everything in life. Remember these law firms that this law firm that Brad Garlinghouse, they're representing Brad Garlinghouse. Well, this is that law firm right here. This is a page from that law firm's website. It says Government and Agency Insight. They're basically saying the members of their firm. They have 9 that are former federal prosecutors. 2 are former FDIC general counsel. Former Director General of the European Commission, former Assistant Chief of the International Section of DOJ's Antitrust, 2 former deputy assistant antitrust of DOJ, 2 former SEC general counsel, former chief litigation counsel of the SEC, former director of the SEC Division of Corporate Finance. Then they got somebody from the IRS, FTC, European Commission. Well, I was going around here and I was looking around and I decided that I would look up the attorneys for the SEC, and you'll never guess where the lead attorney was before he was at the SEC. This is him. He was at the same law firm that represents Brad Garlinghouse for 6 years. Wonder if he knows any of these guys. Just thought I would show that. Okay, Anthony Pompliano. Bitcoin has transitioned from a contrarian trade to a consensus trade on Wall Street. I think that Anthony Pompliano is being set up to have just like a whole carton of eggs all over his face with this whole Bitcoin thing, because I think that the hammer is I think that their assumption is that nothing ever happens to Bitcoin and that it's untouchable. I just get this gut feeling that the freaking hammer's about to be dropped. But first, let's watch him and I'll tell you why I think so.
Show a chart of Bitcoin year to date. I think volatile is a euphemism. This is quite some action on this chart. But you actually believe that holding Bitcoin, it gives people more control over their investments. And you actually call it beautiful. I've never heard that term for Bitcoin. Can you kind of explain your thesis here?
Yeah, so from a price perspective, remember that Bitcoin was trading at $10,000 in October of 2020. So it basically went up 400% in less than 90 days. It kind of had this parabolic run. And so it had a 20% retracement. That's pretty natural. If you go back to the 2017 bull run, Bitcoin between 2016 and 2017, when it more than 20x'd in price, had 5 corrections of over 30%. And so naturally what you're going to get is you're kind of going to get these mini boom and bust cycles. But over a long period of time, even just 1 year in 2017 bull market, you had a 20x in price. And so the halving in 2020 really kickstarted the next bull market. And I think what we're seeing here is this is kind of the first correction, but it's still higher than it was in October of 2020. And we're going to continue to see it move higher and higher in the coming months.
So, Anthony, you agree?
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just wanted to let you get the gist of it. Jonathan D. sent me this. Breaking: European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde said Bitcoin has facilitated funny business and needs to be regulated at a Reuters online event Wednesday. And this is her, I believe, at that event or at some event.
It is a speculative. It's a speculative asset. By any account. I mean, when you look at the most recent developments upward and now the most recent downward trend, for those who had assumed that it might turn into a currency, terribly sorry, but this is an asset and it's a highly speculative asset, which has conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity. I think that there are criminal investigations that have taken place that I'm sure will continue to take place that demonstrate it very clearly. And there has to be regulations, and this has to be applied and agreed upon. It's a matter that needs to be agreed at a global level, because if there is an escape, that escape will be used. So I think it needs to be if anything, it shows that global cooperation, multilateral action is absolutely needed, whether it's initiated by the G7, moved into the G20 and then enlarged, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And FATF is clearly an organization that has expanded in that respect.
So they're about to drop the hammer. I just have this feeling. Now, CryptoDim sent me this. Here's another thing, Bitcoin death signal. And they're talking about the UK and HSBC clampdown. Listen to this, just a little bit of it.
It's always nice to be with you. Happy New Year. Happy everything. Welcome to our Outlook series.
Thanks. Happy New Year. And thank you for having me on this.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of ground to cover. A lot of news came out over the weekend. So our focus here today will be Bitcoin, what's happening with the price action. But first, the UK sounding the alarm on Bitcoin, saying people who invest in cryptocurrencies could lose all their money. This is the warning from the UK's financial regulator as the price of Bitcoin, as we're speaking, here now, Vince. I don't know what it's going to be doing tomorrow, retreating from its highs of 42,000. On top of that, one of the country's largest banks, HSBC, coming out saying they will not process cryptocurrency payments or allow customers to bank money from digital wallets. While other leading banks in the country will accept transfers from digital wallets to current accounts, many will not allow customers to use their credit cards to buy or sell Bitcoin. So basically, know your customer in full effect here in the UK when it comes to cryptocurrency. Is this the future? More clampdowns await Bitcoin, Vince?
Yeah, that's you gave me that's a big lead in.
A lot of info for you there.
The answer, well, I mean, you know how I like to address things in an anal retentive way, so I'll try that. Okay, the last thing first, HSBC, the clampdown concept. Yeah, I don't think they want to use the word clampdown, but that's what's happening. The success of Bitcoin has put it on the radar. One thing I think banks and central planners don't like is headlines of inroads being made in the areas of decentralization. So for the right reasons, with adverse effects on the product, you're going to see things like know your customer, which you brought up, invoked. So I'm a bank, I won't accept funds from Bitcoin unless I know where that money's coming from. That's the whole not fostering criminal enterprises. There's the volatility, which is.
Okay, I'm not going to go any further into that, but I think you get the gist of it. It just feels like the hammer might be dropped soon. Now let's talk about why Bitcoin is not the future. Proof of work does not work. Ryan Zagone from Ripple said it a long time ago. It offended some of the Bitcoin maxis, but it's true. And they just don't want to face it. XRP VET, diamonds to the Quanfi sky, sent me this. This is Lehman Baird. He is the Dr. Lehman Baird. He is in this. He's doing a Harvard talk. And he's talking to Harvard students here. And he's talking about, of course, Hedera Hashka, but he goes into why proof of work does not work. Listen to this.
That's how it works. The problem with that is that if we were forking this way too often, we would get new forks before we finish chopping off the old fork, and the whole system would collapse. We keep sprouting new forks all the time. So we have to slow it down. So how do we slow it down? We do proof of work. In a proof of work system, the whole purpose of the proof of work is to make it run slower. That's interesting. I don't have a part of my engine in my car whose purpose is to make my car run slower. But that's the whole point of proof of work, is to make sure that we're only adding a new block every 10 minutes, or some of the newer ones would be much faster, but to make sure it's slow enough that the community as a whole will have time to figure out which of the chains is longer and always go with the longer fork. To do that, you have to solve a math problem. The math problem does involve taking a hash and trying to find one that will have certain zeros and so on. But it doesn't even matter what you do for your math problem. The point is, it's a useless math problem, but it's really hard to solve, so you need a supercomputer and lots of electricity. Problem. Anytime that you need a supercomputer and lots of electricity and there's economies of scale, you're going to have minor consolidation. Fewer and fewer people are going to have that supercomputer. And if it uses lots of electricity, everybody's going to move to where the electricity is cheap. And you can have geographic consolidation. And once you've got minor consolidation and geographic consolidation, then our beautiful trust model maybe is not quite as trustworthy. If we all live in one spot and the government of that spot nationalizes all our mining rigs and makes them start extending the shorter branches, then they've destroyed the entire system. So that's how the...
So I think that just summarized, what he just described really hits home with what's going on with Bitcoin, with the consolidation of those miners in China. It's a nightmare waiting to happen. Okay, XRP, I truly believe the total crypto market cap will be higher. This is from BAC's website, I guess, and they're projecting by 2025 cryptocurrency to have a valuation of $3 trillion, and that is compared to right now, which is $948 billion. Okay, and then this person, this guy right here, VWTS, said you spoke about Leo Stella. For those of you that didn't hear it, Yesterday I was talking about Stella, which is a company that makes satellites, and they make them for IBM, and then IBM uses SpaceX to send the satellites into orbit. So IBM's Space Tech, IBM's a partner with Stellar. So just by pure coincidence, the satellite company is called Stella without the R. And then this guy reminds us that remember the Stella project. Actually, yeah, I do. It was called Project Stella. The third phase of Stella project says the European Central Bank has published the third report from the Stella project, a collaborative project with the Bank of Japan that focuses on possible use of distributed ledger technology for financial market infrastructures. I'm sure that word right there, it's all a coincidence, right? Okay, I wanted to finish by showing you this. This was an article that came out the other day from Forbes where they're telling you the different tax consequences of when you either make crypto or you like with staking or whatever, or you sell your crypto. And they kind of go through the different tax treatments. IRS treats crypto as a property. Selling cryptocurrency into USD, what is the tax consequence of that? Buying cryptocurrency using another cryptocurrency or crypto to crypto trade, earning, mining, or staking cryptocurrency. They go through it all there. And I wanted to remind you that if you have an iTrustCapital account like I do, I have 2 of them, your crypto in there, you can buy and sell out of it. In my Roth IRA, I do this all the time. You can buy and sell into and out of and go into another crypto, which I have done. And there are no tax consequences inside of that thing. And then you can do a distribution after a certain age, like 59 and a half or something like that. This is, by the way, there's a link in the description of all my videos to iTrustCapital, and there's a coupon code you can get like 1 month free. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Bitcoin might be headed for some regulatory issues itself. Thanks for listening.